an episode of Applebee's Tarot and Spiritual Life. And today we're focusing on tarot, and I do love my readings. Anyway, today's episode is one that is close to my heart, and one that I've been on both sides of the argument, funnily enough. Yeah, started off on one side, and God opened my eyes to the other side. It's about assisted dying. Yes. Could this be a taboo episode for some, maybe, if you're not really wanting to hear what the cards have to say about it? Then I suggest that you click on a different reading of mine. No harm, no foul. I will not judge you for not wanting to watch this. I personally was inspired by heaven to do this, so I hope you'll join me. So let's get into it. I thought what I'd do today is I'd start with 3 tarot cards. Oh, there's one. It's about assisted dying. Let's see what the cards have to say. Assisted dying. Oh, assisted dying. Oh, there's one. And last card. Oh. Okay. I'll just take the top one. As I said, I was going to have 3. Right. This is an interesting one, actually. It's the first card, the 9 of Wands. And you see this man here, he's hemmed in, he's exhausted and battered from a very long fight. And I think those who are at the end of their lives, they have fought very long and hard with their illness. As someone who has my own battles, I too question some days, do I have enough in me for the latter part of my life? And when you're in the end of your life, it's exhausting, mentally and physically. And I know that people fight for their families because families want them to stay in the world. It's only natural that you want your wounded, weary traveller to remain with you, and you put up a fence around them. But you think it's to protect them. You think that as long as I make them as comfortable as possible, I will keep them here with me. And when I was actually talking to the archangels about doing this reading, I was like, you sure that I have what it takes to deliver this message? Because it might upset some people. And they said, yeah, you can do this. And I was just like, okay, I'll give it my best shot. So with this first card, this person is propping themselves up. They really have come to the end of their battle. They're exhausted, they're tired, and the final big fight, they don't have that ability to go through all that suffering. This is why assisted dying, when it comes to the last vestiges of life, offers a compassionate choice. But if you're trying to hem people in because you harbour beliefs. I mean, it says here, the protagonist of this card shows too much exhaustion to defend themselves effectively, but refuses the suggestion to seek help. At the end of the day, I think it is about allowing those people to choose their own end, and not making it all about your need to have people with you. Let's see what else the cards have to say. Oh boy, this is becoming very difficult. I'm wondering, like, this is going down a road where I don't really want to have to walk. But I said I do this, so another 9. Let me just have a look at. I did write these down because I'm doing flashcards to learn. Because, yeah, this can get a bit annoying having to go through books all the time just to find what it is I want to find. There we go. Yeah. Humanitarianism. Isn't it? Yeah, I just got chills all over then. Universal compassion. A tolerance for many differences amongst different peoples, and attaining of wisdom through experience. Drawing 9 suggests you've reached a level where you are comfortable dedicating your life to others' welfare or to some worthy cause. The challenge is to avoid getting caught up in the big picture, the greatest good for the greatest number, that you neglect what is closest to you. So 9 symbolizes integration. And reading shows you established your life's priorities. You know what you want and how you intend to get it. End of life. People know what they want, and it's a humanitarian cause to end suffering through compassionate acts of allowing people the means to go to heaven with dignity and peace. It's a good death rather than an ugly one. And I would have wanted that for my family if they chose it. It's about freedom of choice. And I actually, when I was starting on my spiritual path, and I started where most people do, with the Bible, and I went through it and earmarked my favourite bits, and something that struck me, and I'll never forget when I read the moment about free will, about what it means. And forgive me for saying this, but I wonder how many Christians actually think about the depth and freedom that God gave us without judgment. Because God gave us the ability to make our choices rather than be the overbearing parent, to have the experience of learning without punishment, because we are here to learn as souls, to grow and learn about ourselves, because we are God's children. We are God's in our own right. But in order to learn the fullness and breadth of our own power and our own uniqueness that separates us from our prime creator, God gave us the free will to make these mistakes. Now, in the Bible, they call them sin, but it's a misgiven. And I actually was just like, it was like a light bulb moment, because I went down the rabbit hole of Aramaic and all of the languages and the translations and all of the, because it just Aramaic excites me. Why? Because it is a multi-dimensional language which really fits God's children, doesn't it, really? Because everything has a multiple meaning to it. Unfortunately, translating that into Queen's English English has its own rules and structures, which Aramaic doesn't fit into. But what happened was in translation that you have the people that are translating its own agenda fitting in, as well as the people who wrote the first texts, their agendas, their earthly man agendas, right, of the time. And then at the turn, when the Bible was first brought out into the Queen's English, everything had its own flavour. And also it was, religion was to indoctrinate and control the masses. It was not freedom. You know, God's religions do not give you the freedom that God gave you. It's not the love that God gave you. There are rules. How can you have free will and have rules? You cannot. They do not fit into the same structure as, you know, do you know what I mean? They're completely different ways of being. There's God's way of being, and then there's religion's way of being. The two don't coexist. They talk about love, but do they talk about God's love, which is unconditional, or do they talk about man's love, which is the poor imitation of God's love, because with man comes conditions. And we're always searching for God. That's why religion exists, but we're searching for God's love. And God's love is completing, fulfilling. I mean, when God filled me with his love, because I asked for it, and I thought I was going to blow up. I was overflowing with this intense love for 3 days, and I kept saying I don't know what to do with it. So God took it back because I was not ready to wield such love and responsibility at that time. I was on a path to it, but I had not grown enough. This was not enough of the cathedral to hold that which I was given at the time. My chakra was not as open. So it made me understand about the process and the search that we have as souls, and why we feel like a piece of us is missing. It's because we separated ourselves from God in order to experience the duality, which is this environment of black and white, right and wrong, in order to understand love and to return to that which we already are, through the process of experiencing. Because you can know something, but knowing things is one thing. Experiencing them is something else. And I'm going through this process myself at the moment of going, okay, well, I am learning to be a teacher, but I am lacking some of the experiences that I truly want to experience. How do I bring that into being? And I feel that my journey is going to be that next part. So when we think of assisted dying, it is very shrouded in man's need to control and his need to punish and his need to preserve life and his need to live to God's rules, what God's law is, what God's expectations are. How do I say this? Because one thing God told me was that God says, where's your compassion? Because I had 2 cats, right? And they were my fur children, because I can't have babies, and they were my babies. And God gave me a boy and a girl, which is what I'd wanted. So I was so stoked to have them. And I had kept saying and praying to God, please don't make me do this. Please don't make. And now I understand why. I had to put to sleep both my children. And it was the most heartbreaking, and it was like my heart got ripped out both times. So I understand about compassionate death. Both my cats were suffering with individual problems, and I did not want to see them have to go through a horrible end to their life. I let them go sedated and peacefully into the afterlife because I did not want them to suffer. And I would afford that for anyone I love. As a vegan, I see all life as equal. I see all life as precious. I see all life as part of God. And God said, why would you let my children suffer? Is it not kind and compassionate to let them come home to me peacefully? As we have free will, God cannot intercede on our behalf. We have to make the choices. This is what growing up is. And we are at a massive formative stage as a society about this very subject, this very issue. And I can understand why we are so divided on it. Oh, dearie me. You are so cool. Right, the final card. I was just talking about division. The Five of Swords means arguments, conflicts, and losses. Win at all costs, and a bit of victory after an argument will win the game, but lose the relationship. And isn't that true? Because there are going to be people who won't want to talk to other people again because they support this and you support that, and it's going to mean losing the ones you love, because they will want to choose to die and you are going to feel slighted. But why are you feeling slighted? Because it isn't because they don't love you. It isn't because they don't want to be with you. They've run out of road. They're in pain. They're tired. They want to go home, to their real home, where they can be of service to the Creator again and of service to you, because in heaven they have more power than they do this side of the rail, and especially when they're in their weakened state at the end of life. Surely it's better to allow free will to choose how you die. It's your life. And I know that they're going, oh, it could be twisted this way, it could be twisted that, but that's fear. Fear. Fear of change. Fear of power. But do you know what? Fear only has power if you give it to it. Power only has power if you allow it. You are a creator. So create a world of love, compassion, kindness, unity, oneness, togetherness, teamwork. Why have wars, conflict, power struggles, hunger? To me, I know which side of the fence I'm walking, and that is the path of love. Because love heals all things, love conquers all, love is all, and at the end of the day, if you truly love the people around you, you do it unconditionally, and you will support whatever it is that they wish to do with their own life. I remember when my mum passed away, I knew that I wanted in her death to honour her exactly how she wished to be honoured, down to every fine detail. She had to have the most amazing funeral. It was my last gift to my mum that I could give her to send her on her journey. And it was beautiful. My mum was terrified of dying, and I was said to her, "You're going to go to sleep and you'll be fine, you'll just pass the spirit." And she went, "Oh yeah, right, that's not going to happen, is it?" My mum died in her sleep. So she did, but her road to it was not great at all. Luckily, she was so out of her mind, she didn't realise that she was on the road to the end of the road. So there was that small grace, but it wasn't a grace in terms of her suffering. My mum wouldn't have chosen the assisted dying because of her fear. But there are those out there who will want to, and there are those out there who are going to be looking around them in their family for the support to have a living funeral, to have celebration of life, and to be able to have a quiet, comfortable, easy death where they just go to sleep and wake up in heaven. So let's see what spirit, because I said spirit, you've got to let me know what you think, because these are people on the other side who have died, and some of them have had assisted dying because they live in a different country or they've travelled to a different country. So these people in heaven are the ones we want to talk to, aren't they? Really? So here we go. Now, I was surprised at this, and I was gratefully surprised because the first card, look at that beautiful card. You see spirit bringing people up to heaven, and it's the spiritual path. Number 7, it's the spiritual path, walking the spiritual path. So knowing that spiritually we live forever, we never die. This is our body that's dying, and we are vacating a faulty vessel because it no longer is working for us. We are never separated from the ones we love. We truly are at one with everything all the time. There is no need to feel like you'll never see them again, because you will. So Spirit's saying, why not send out help to others? Why not help people to die if they are suffering? We will be there to meet them and greet them and love them and care for them in heaven. They will never be alone. They have their guardian angels. They have their guides, their loved ones. Everyone surrounds you. And Archangel Azrael is there when it's time, and he will guide them to the summer lands. And Archangel Jeremiah will be with them lovingly through a non-judgmental life review, where it is you are the one in the driving seat, experiencing your life and how everybody felt about you, and how you were as well, and experiencing the full flavour of your life so that you can make the decisions about where you could have made improvements. It's a lesson. It is not, every mistake stroke sin, which is what I was trying to get at earlier, is there just to be repented and made good. That's what Jesus said, just truly repent your mistakes. There is no judgment other than the judgment you give yourself. Judge not lest ye be judged by the same measure, because you're the one doing it. And they're saying, listen to your inner space, because you do have your universal knowledge and knowing, an innate knowing of peace, love, unity, God's presence, because God is actually here with you right now. God's here with me. So we can tap into that. And if you're struggling with it, take some time to go within. Use your clear seeing at the situation. Feel into your solar plexus, your power center. Feel what feels right to you. And then go from there in your heart. Feel your heart's true calling. Not your self-imposing will. You've got to separate that out, because it has to be felt from a place of non-judgment, in a heart space of love, and then see what your heart says, because the heart will always tell you. And Spirit's saying this: when it feels right, do it. If it feels right to be the one to say, I want assisted dying, if it feels right to say, I want a living funeral family, I want to be there and see the love, feel the love of you, be there with you, and then I want to just go and peacefully go, rather than having months of pain and ugliness and suffering, because it's often not pretty at all. Now the angels, they said, best thing you can do in these situations is to clear yourself. Ask the angels to release toxic energies you may have absorbed. And that can be from, people around you, being exposed to religion often has toxic opinion that can really harm you, and you then carry it as your own, and it not really, it's not yours. If you can free yourself from anything you're carrying that you adopted that just does not sit, the angels can help clear that out for you, so that you can really allow yourself to be free to choose for yourself. Because instead of adopting other people's dogma, other people's opinions, other people's ways of living, we can let that go and really sit with our own soul and let our higher self really speak to us, and really see where we want to really put ourselves when it comes to supporting our family. Why do we have to have bitter losses and a bit of victory? Because you'll be by yourself. You will have won your argument, but you won't have the loved ones around you anymore. And it goes from both sides of the argument. Like, that person's going to do what they want to do, but they would rather do it with the support of their family. And wouldn't you rather say goodbye to your loved one and honour them and their free will and their choices than make it all about you? Because it's not all about you and your beliefs. It's about what your family member wants. It's about what your family member needs. And as I said, personally, having seen what God said to me that time, because before I thought that I had to honour the will of the Bible. Thou shalt not kill. I thought that was a blanket for everything. But now, having lived my life and having had instruction from God on compassion, and had instruction from my cats on compassionate acts and choices, and having been there for my mum when she died, and all I wanted to do was honour the love I had for her and my mum's free will choices, it is about that, free will and compassion and love and respect and honour. So clear the toxicity to allow for you to feel into what's really right in that moment. We all walk our own path. Mine was a unique one. And you will have your own choices and challenges. But we are here to learn. This is Earth School. And it's a difficult school. It's the most difficult one in the whole of creation. So give yourself a pat on the back for being here. But that means that the lessons are harsh, they're difficult, and it is about listening to your heart and the love you have for another should come before any love you have for your own opinions. And they're saying, if you're worrying about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it, you have this beautiful thing called your throat chakra. It's a lovely sky blue. And when it's radiant, it's like the brightest summer day blue. And the angels are helping you to lovingly speak your truth, like they are me now, because I was like, oh, they're going to say all this so much. But ask the angels to help you in the moments where you're struggling with such an immense amount of pain, because obviously you're honouring your own pain and of losing your loved one and coming to terms with losing them while they're even still here. It's a lot. But it's about letting go, and letting go through love is the most comforting way of easing into a loss so profound. And then ask God to be there with you, to comfort you. God was there for me, because I knew when I lost my first cat, I was going to be an absolute mess. And I had a prayer, and it was the most amazing thing ever. I literally screamed when my cat died. And then all of a sudden, my heart space was filled with the most amazing peace I've ever felt in my entire life. It was like heaven descended and just covered me and shielded me in a blanket of love and peace. And I was like, I feel so much peace. What's going on? But I think it was because I was so emotionally distraught, they protected me. Ask God to be there for you. Have a prayer. And it's amazing how heaven can help you in the most destroying moments of your life. Really, truly. The angels have said one thing we need to do in these moments, because life and death has been taught to us to be finite. It's a lie. One, that I should spank the body of every person in church or teachers for saying that you will only be saved on the day of judgment, where everybody gets up out of their grave. I mean, really? You notice that bodies actually just disintegrate. The thing is that a body is like a suit, right? So we whack on our little meat suit, and it allows us sensation, interaction, a way of getting about in such a dense environment, because we need to be able to interact with what we've created. So the body that we've built, and literally we ourselves build and interact with the brain and everything, we get it set up to walk around in. So the soul is popping in and out of mum during the pregnancy, getting the baby's brain ready to house it, because and the vessel, because you have to get ready to wearing it, it's like trying on a suit. Is it there yet? Are the synapses right? What do I need to do here? What do I need to do there? But we are light beings, energy beings. We are consciousness. We are what runs. See, I'm doing this, but it's actually like me as a light being that's just making my body do this right now, because I'm in it. If I decide to leave, the body dies. If I decide to pop out, show's over, I'm off. Right? But we are tethered to our bodies for the exact amount of time we have agreed to be here, and it's like a safety, like a safety cord, so we don't sort of float away and not decide not to come back to finish our term. But they are just vessels. So we actually have a real world. This is like the Matrix, Neo. It's called Matrix, 3-dimensional Matrix. We as creators are co-creating in this space. It's really cool once you understand that this would not be here right now if I was not having my experience. And this feels real. Really, during the day I am dreaming in myself into being in heaven here, and then at night time while my body's asleep, I pop back to heaven and I'm doing stuff with my brothers and sisters up there. It's so cool. But when you first understand the true real nature of what it is, it's like, what? That is so, and I was saying heaven, why can't I remember? I think it sounds fair. I only remember coming up to heaven occasionally. It'd be nice to be able to just pop home every night and go, I'm back home. Oh, I suppose I've got to go back to sleep again. I have the craziest dreams though. It's amazing how multidimensional we are. I can be here talking to you and I'm still up in heaven doing stuff. Yep. Like, I'm in two places at once. I'm all over the shop. It's awesome. It's a bit like Doctor Strange. The multiverse. So what they're saying is, vacuum your fear away around death, because there is no dying. That person's not leaving you forever. They are leaving the vessel that they can no longer run. Their soul is just going to cross back up to the other side, where they will have their life with you. They get a party with everybody, like a welcome home party that happens for everybody, because you're like a hero when you come back home from Earth. Why? Because Earth is so difficult. It's full of pain, duality, density. Like, when you get home, you're shiny. Why are you so shiny? Because you've been through so much. You've experienced a lot and have learned your lessons that make you a wiser, brighter soul. So sending a person on their way through assisted dying is just assisting the vessel to cross away, to go back to, carbon, and for the soul to be released from its bonds of its earthly life. So it can be reconstituted, because they call it a reconstitution day in heaven, reconstituted with the rest of its energy. Why? Our souls, we can only fit a little tiny bit of this inside our vessel. And before we come to our lives, we decide for our life plan how much energy that's going to take. And then we go, right, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to take 30% of myself this time. And then sometimes we get on really well and we manage to do our lives effectively with the energy we've given. And other times we are constantly tired and needing rest and not able to, the body's sickly, and because we've miscalculated for the vessel and for our needs for the life plan, what we were bringing with us. If I was to put my entire soul in here right now, it would blow up. The body would just go. It would not be pretty. And let's face it, we don't want to see that on TV, do we? So vacuuming away fear around death, it's so important we start to do that as a society, because there is no such thing as death. Death is but a doorway back to our life in the real world. This is fun time, experience time. I mean, I find life can be a lot of fun or a lot of challenge. I personally would like my life to be a lot more fun and a lot less challenge. Now, I've been through so much. I'm just like, seriously, time out, ring the bell, But, that's not what life is about, really. We have to go through our challenges. So, yeah, vacuuming away fear around death. Let's start doing it. Let's start opening our minds, opening our hearts, and doing some research. I tell you what, if you are not a spiritual person and you thought, I'll just click on this to see what she's got to say, start watching the near-death experiences. to educate yourselves about what happens, because all these people have had them given as a gift by God for you to see behind the curtain, so you can all start to open your minds and understand that we are not our body. And emotional sensitivity. Let's have some. Be sensitive to your own emotions. Be kind to yourselves and honour and respect your deep sensitivity, as it is a gift to the soul. That's what the angels are saying. If you're deeply sensitive, honour that. Start sharing your sensitivity and your love with the world, because we need a lot more people like that, don't we? Yes, and the last card from the angels is integrity. Align your actions so that they match your values and inner knowingness of what is right for you. And it is integrity, is it not? So stand up for what is right for you. And there are going to be people that aren't going to be on the same page. And it's okay to stand up to what's right to you, but you don't have to be a bull in a china shop and be acting all righteous like you are the one with all the answers, because unfortunately, my darling, you are not. There are 8 billion people with answers, and each person has the right to be honoured in their own opinion. I see you, I hear you, but I respect your opinion. I cannot join you in it because I'm going to honour myself through my emotional sensitivity. I'm going to honour my integrity of me by following my heart. But we don't have to stand on other people and start pointing fingers and start saying you're wrong, you're this, you're that, you're a murderer, you're that. Do you see if I'm doing this at you through the TV, how horrible is that? It's aggressive. It's focusing your energy as a creator onto that person, and you're forcing yourself into their space. You're forcing your opinion into their free will. It never ends well. It always ends with you having a karmic bond to another person because you've attached yourself energetically to them by trying to force yourself on them. So now you're holding hands like this, and this person will never be able to get free of you because you've clamped on. But that's not going to change them. It's just going to weigh them down. And you're one of their bricks that are going to have to forgive you and release you. And you're going to have to let go at some point for your own sanity. We don't, self-recrimination is another thing. It's exactly the same issue, except you're doing this to yourself. And laying on all these extra layers of crap that you don't need to carry. So clear yourself, vacuum away your fear, and be emotionally sensitive to you. And allow yourself your choices without fear, because God says, why are you afraid? I've given you free will, and I love you, and I'll never judge you. You're judging yourselves. I will welcome my children home with love every single time they will come home to heaven. You're the ones that keep on believing these narratives that you're being fed without listening to your heart and listening to what is right for that person and what is right for you in that moment. If you're struggling with finding what is right, ask your guides, ask God to help you. You have all of this inner knowingness, all of this inner knowledge. You have your sight, your clear seeing, so you can see clearly what it is that is right for you, and your integrity to then follow that through. Now, I have my spirit guides came in with a card that he's saying, they're first saying, how committed to your path are you? Are you thinking about it clearly? Are you seeing it clearly? Are you ready to walk where it's going to take you? Because it is about, if you are walking a path of judgment, where does judgment take you? Think about that when you judge. What does that do? Brings the lens back round on you. You're the one that will then have to carry that judgment as part of who you are. And what if it's a judgment that's the wrong one? Because it does not fit well with you, morally speaking, ethically speaking. Where do we sit? Are we following a doctrine, or are we following our heart? What's the right choice? When compensation and perseverance, you persevere to be compensated for what you believe is right. But when you get there, what if it's a hollow victory? What if it was the wrong choice? I think it's about Spirit saying, let's start thinking of really from our hearts rather than our heads. And why have we got to put it outside of ourselves to a book that was written, 2,000 years ago? When, as creators, we have the ability to change whenever we want. There is no judgment. I always say, I walk the loving path. And walking the loving path is gratitude and service. It's selflessness, having humility, and conscious action from our heart. If you put selflessness, humility into your conscious action, you will always walk the loving path. Because truly, it's the highest form of honour there can be, is unconditional love of another being. Which means no judgments. Taking out recrimination and trying to see everybody as God's child, because they are. Look beyond the meat suit. See the being of light that exists within. Understand what it means to be a light being having a human experience, rather than just seeing a human being with no power, with no dimension, and a termination date. That's very much a way of doing it as a soul, and some people choose that, but not everyone is going to choose that. So isn't it better to let the people who have chosen for a different experience to have their own path? I think so. Honour their path. And I thought this was a strange one, because I said to the archangels, what would you like to bring to the party about assisted dying? And the first thing they came out with was fun. Oh my God, really? It's not a fun subject, is it? But no, they were. I think in these situations we often get very serious and very emotionally distraught. And I think the angels want to bring in some lightness to this reading, because they're like, hey, this is getting really dark. But they're saying your guidance is to take time to enjoy yourself, Relax and find your sense of humour and treat things lightly. I mean, who wants the end of their life to be arguments, recriminations and judgments? Who wants the end of their life to be one of suffering, pain, never-ending drugs and treatments, and all to be there for you because you're the one that can't let go? Why not allow for sense of humour to be there? Why not allow for the lightness of laughter and love to be what is the final days of that person's life? Why not make it a beautiful experience? Fun brings lightness of spirit, and the most difficult situation can be eased if you see the funny side of things. So cultivate a sense of the ridiculous. How you can bring play, laughter, fun into your social life, your relationships, and your work life. When you have fun, the angels rejoice, for there is nothing more they love than joy, play, humour, and laughter. I lighten up and make everything fun. And I think in my last days, I always find laughter in the ridiculous. I have the most inappropriate sense of humour ever. And I often hold myself back, so I'm thinking, no, it's not the time, Amy. But having fun and bringing that into someone's last days on earth, I would rather honour, love, bring laughter, bring peace, bring finality of a life, bring celebration of it, bring all those moments and people that matter to my world so that I can love them and say goodbye and then leave my world with dignity. And I've said that if I have that choice, I'm taking it. I have had a lot of suffering in my life, and I choose how I'm going out. And choices. They're saying choices is nothing. And I've been talking about choices this entire thing, haven't I? Because it is a choice. Choices they're talking about now. When you worry about decisions, it means that your mind is trying to control your life and the results in choices made from your ego. Remember I was saying about heart-centered consciousness? I didn't really include this bit, did I? And I said here and here, because here and here are the two places really that give you the best, because you get gut feelings and your heart will talk to you. And it does. It does to me. And I'm sure it will you. And has you. All of your life. We all are emotional beings. Emotional sensitivity. We need to start loving and living and feeling into that heart-centered consciousness. And leave the ego at the door. You don't need it. It's not going to bring you any joy. Your angel guidance is to consider and evaluate all the options, then let go of your head and choose from your heart that which gives you the greatest joy and feels right. Do not act from foolish impulsive, however, rather than divinely prompted inspiration. Make choices for the highest good. Remember that something is not your highest good, it certainly is not the highest good of those around you. So let go false feelings of responsibility for others and choose with wisdom. Become still and attuned to your soul. Ask your angels for guidance and help. From that your point of deep inner stillness, make your choices easily and spontaneously. I choose for my highest good and all those around me. Now, Archangel Chamuel, he popped out twice. I did a couple of shuffles on this. I was like, I need to get this, the angels to really give me the cards are going to be appropriate. And Archangel Chamuel works on the pink ray of love, and being blessed with this Archangel card indicates that you're ready to open your heart to unconditional love, which is what we've been talking about. It's all about unconditional love. Assisted dying. Love has no restrictions and accepts all people as they are, nor does it judge. True love is so powerful that it dissolves hurt, anger, and separation. Let love flow from your heart and touch your loved ones, those you dislike, and even strangers. This creates a bridge of light which the angels can move along to bring hope and peace. In return, your life will be blessed and filled with love. My heart is filled with the flame of love. And these last two cards are about, remember me talking to you so much about like the process of dying and of how we go home and what happens when we die? Well, the archangels are saying, don't see death as an end, because it isn't. It's a beginning. It's a beginning for the soul to go on the next leg of their journey. And they say, life is a series of cycles and a time of rebirth is indicated. It is rebirthing into their normal self. So the energy that they lent to this body, the soul, is calling it back. And the people will pass back home through the tunnel of light, if that's what they wish to see. We all see different things when we pass. And then they go have their life review with Archangel Jeremiah, and they get to have a party, which is pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to my party when I get home, to be honest. If this may mean a new phase of relationship, the germination of a fresh idea or development of qualities in you like laughter, light, or hope. It may herald a total change. When we lose someone, we ourselves go through a period of loss, and then we rebirth because that person is still with us, but they add to us. We carry them with us. And we become different because we've never lived without them before. So we will change. But we have a new life to live. We will go in a new direction. And they will still watch over us from heaven. And they will be our cheerleaders. And they will help us as much as they can on the other side. Like my family do me. And it's a cycle. Oh no, don't do it. My brain went, the circle of life. Do not be afraid to let go of the familiar. So do not be afraid to let go of your loved ones. For the new cannot enter until the old and outworn has departed. And the old and outworn is the vessel. Your family member is going to be reborn and have a new body, a better one, a young one, good-looking one. I mean, my mum looks awesome. She has the best bouffant. Anyway, your angel guidance is to accept the new, for it will be welcome when it arrives. Birth is valuable time. The fragile life force needs to be protected and nurtured within you. Ask the angels to guide the new beginnings in your life safely and maturely. Oh, safely to maturity. Blech, I cannot read. Safely to maturity. And death is an adventure, just like life is. We are going to be reborn. We are just shedding our old vessel and making way for a brand new energy body to be back with our loved ones in heaven. We get to have our life lived over in heaven in whatever way we choose. It's an adventure for us. Life is an adventure. So is death. Nothing is ever lost or wasted or died. Nothing. And adventure, life is an adventure. Be ready for the unexpected and make the most of all opportunities, including how you're going to leave it. I think if you want to make the most of the opportunity of a peaceful, loving death with a living funeral and all of the love and the laughter that can be brought through that way of dying, go for it. The angel wisdom suggests you get out of any habits or ruts in which you're stuck, and you can be stuck in old thought forms, belief systems, paradigms that do not serve where you are now. Allow for letting go, allow for a freedom of will and choice and change. Allow yourself. the healing that can come from this way of giving back to your loved one and letting them go the way that they wish to go. Explore the new in excitement and courage. These magnetic qualities attract money and career and access to relationships. I think if you can be like that in every area of your life, after having been in some of the most difficult situations and then adopt it to other areas, you are on the way to a brand new way of living and being, and you will develop greatly as a soul. And those people's love, you always have them here, you know, they never leave you. Always carry their light with your own. For everything is in here, including your loved ones. It's not out there in the sky. I'm always looking up because I haven't got out of the habit, but my guides are in here. My family are in here if I want to talk to them. Everything is in here because God is in here and we're all connected. If you could see beyond the three-dimensional, you'll start to see the connections. You'll start to see beyond the veil. I can't wait to see beyond the veil with these two eyes. Everything at the moment is in this eye. The angels will inspire you to move forward with anticipation, expectancy and hope. I think hope and expectancy of a better tomorrow, of a more loving and open society where there is not so much judgment and argument, would be a wonderful one. So face the adventure of life eagerly. And don't feel like this has to be a horrible thing for people, because I believe it's the most loving and compassionate thing that you can do for someone is give them the choice to die on their own terms when they are literally staring down the barrel of a very nasty, painful, prolonged, agonizing death. If they choose to end their life peacefully, I think that it's the right thing to do, and Spirit is seemingly quite supporting that through the cards. So this has been my reading. I'm going to do a talk on assisted dying. I don't even think I need to do that now, really, do I? Because this reading has sort of like backed up all I wanted to say. Right. I loved you all. If you've loved the reading today and you've enjoyed spending your time with me, please do leave me a thumbs up. Hit that like button, please, because no one's still not doing it. I said to Spirit, should I just stop doing these readings because nobody seems to be really enjoying them? But they told me I've got to keep going, so I'm going to keep going. But it would be nice if I could get some support from you if you enjoyed today, because that would be so amazing. I love you. Take good care. If you want to see the next video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and join me in my next episode. I've been Amy Applebee. Take good care of yourselves, my darlings. Oh, before I go, do you like my little shout to Christmas? So sad. I was just like, I'm going to put my little windmill out because I just thought, oh, just like adds a little nod to the festive season. Anyway.